My name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, "Oh, hey, you're a mom? That is fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channel Mom Show with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Brought to you by Pediatric Dental Group of Colorado, creating positive and rewarding dental visits for kids of all ages since 1977. Hey, welcome back to the Channel Mom Show, where we are here for you, Mom, on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt, here with the author of Ariel's Light, Heidi Marie Davis. We did have someone call in to win a book. Congratulations to Christina, our listener. So I'm so glad somebody's going to get her book. I want to say very briefly, we have sponsors, and they care about moms, and that's why they pay for the advertising fees to be on our show and to advertise to moms, and they want to support our show. Lemongrass Spa Products is an incredible company, all natural products that make you feel like you're at the spa. Lemongrass Spa Products is giving away their pomegranate facial polish for a penny. So cool. You can go to the website, channelmom.com, and click on that. Go click on Lemongrass's ad for their pomegranate facial polish. It makes you look like new. I'm in my 40s, and whenever I use it, it just buffs me up, and you look wonderful. So it's so neat that they're offering this for us to February 27th. So go ahead and go click on that so that you can win one of those from our wonderful sponsors, Lemongrass Spa Products. Okay, we're back with Heidi Marie Davis. She's telling us her story that is detailed in the book Ariel's Light. She was an alcoholic. She is to the point where her husband has said, "This is enough. You're endangering our 5 children." She's in a hotel room with her oldest daughter, Ariel, who's standing by her side through it all, even when her mom's been not so great to her. And really, let's just be honest, not a good mom at that point.
Right.
But Ariel stood by your side, and you said you felt like it was literally God working through her, and you decided, that's it. I'm going to go through a 12-step program, and that was it. That was it for you. So tell me what happened there.
Well, that was it. And that next morning I went back home, and the little white flag of surrender went up, which was so incredible for me because, I actually saw this little flag. One of the hard things is the fight that goes in, I can have one, I can't have one. And it was over. I'd finally accepted that if I have one drink, it's never going to be different. So the acceptance was huge for me. Mm-hmm. And I did. And I dove head in, feet, whatever you want to
feet
call
first,
feet
yeah.
first.
Yeah.
I just dove into my recovery. And I took it, one step at a time, with my sponsor. God bless her soul for helping me and being there with me. Mm-hmm. And we just did this together, and I didn't have to do it alone. And with that, I started building the relationship back with my family. And, Ariel was, aside from my mom, of course, my biggest cheerleader. She was just, she went to some of the meetings with me, and she just wrote me letters of encouragement, and all my kids were like that. But Ariel really, it was so important to her.
How old was she?
15, 16.
Yeah, she was doing this.
Yeah,
she was in a 15-year, 16-year period,
mm-hmm,
and she was by your side, just
by my side. It was just so incredibly important to Ariel, my recovery. More than, the other ones. The other ones were so happy for me, but something different with Ariel. And I knew how important it was to her. She'd give me a happy 100 days letter, and she was just very, very supportive.
Is she your oldest?
Well, Allison's the oldest, and Ariel was second in line.
Okay. So Allison's the oldest. I'm sorry, Allison. No. I said Ariel was the oldest. So it was very important to Ariel. And can you just give me a sentence of the kind of things she would say to you as you were going through this?
I'm so proud of you, Mom. I love you, Mommy. She wrote me a letter and said, you tell me not to be like you, but you need to take a look in the mirror and see what kind of person you are. She was just so helpful for me and encouraging. And she was loved. She called me her best friend. And I don't know, she was just really great. She was just really great.
So you were well into your recovery. And something happened.
Yes, it was right before Christmas, December 20th, and I was sober for 7 months. And Ariel and her friend Haley were walking to the store, and Ariel got hit by a car, and she died. And I can't really describe it, because unless you've been there and been through something like that, it's very just, you can't breathe. And I knew at that moment in my life that I had to return everything, just, that was no exception, back over to God. And he walked us through that trial.
Yeah, I mean, because that would have been a reason for you to pick up a drink.
Absolutely.
What stopped you?
Well, what stopped me was that the acceptance was still so in my heart. I mean, I kept saying that serenity prayer over and over. But what stopped me really is that I didn't want to take anything away from Ariel. This was about her. This was about God. This was about my family. Ariel was not just mine. And it wasn't just about my pain. It was about everybody's pain. And if I would have picked up a drink, it would have been, my daughter, my this, my that. But it wasn't just about me. It was about her.
Yeah.
And so it was about staying grateful. And I knew that if I took a drink, that I wouldn't be grateful. I would have had the mentality of, she was taken from me, but I was grateful to have her, that God gave her to me. That's what I was grateful for. And I knew if I picked up a drink, I would lose that.
Yeah. So this precious daughter of yours, age 15 and 16, stood with you when you were a raging alcoholic, and then cheered you on when you were in your recovery, kind of almost beyond her years. She was almost sort of mature beyond her years, and loved on you. And then in some ways, she was snatched from you in a moment, despite the fact that she was your biggest cheerleader. What did God do in your, because God speaks to us. What did he do for you that helped you to say, I can reconcile this? I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to ruin my life and go back to drink. What unfolded for you that you were able to carry on after that precious girl? This is the part where I broke down in my own house when you were telling me over the phone that Ariel died. I can't imagine how I would have reacted. What got you through?
The grace of God got me through. I have to say that. It was only God. I mean, I was willing. There was things that he shows us every single day. And, especially this time was no different. And I was just willing to listen.
Okay.
There were certain signs that were left. I mean, some of the things, one thing in particular, Ariel left a Bible on her bed, which was really strange. I mean, we were Christian. We're Christian. But at that time in my life, I was really, really into this 12-step program. So I really had to concentrate. That was a gateway to me into the Bible, into other things, a better relationship. But at that time, I didn't know she had that Bible. I didn't know. I knew that Ariel was very much loved Jesus, and she loved
God.
Loved God. But to leave that Bible on her bed was weird. We got home. I mean, it was
there.
It was like she
after
knew.
She passed away. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she put it there. She went back up in her room and put the Bible on her bed and a story she wrote previous. And one of the times that I was sober, and I write about that in the book, it was almost like a premonition in a sense. And she left that story on her dresser, which I thought she destroyed. Oh. And I talk about that in the book. But yeah, and so I started listening to these things, and I started writing things down, and I wasn't writing them down because I was going to write a book. I mean, in my life, I never thought I was a writer. Yeah. But I wrote them down because I asked God, you lead me and I'll follow. And I wrote him a letter. It was on December 27th. So we had been home from the hospital for 5 days. Mm-hmm. And it was my first letter I wrote. And I thanked him for giving me her. And I look back at that and I just think, wow, to be able to thank God in a time like that, to be able to find gratitude in a time like that. I found that through these people that were helping me in my recovery. For Linda, she's, oh my gosh, and my mom and my family. But those sort of things, I just started writing these things down, and it was like, I didn't necessarily need signs, but I thought maybe it's for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what it's for, because, on May 21st, when I surrendered my life over to God, I believed him. I trusted with everything inside of me that, so I didn't, for 7 months, I was building this incredible relationship with God. He was my friend, and he was saying, you know what, you can't make mistakes, or you can make mistakes, but I'm not ever going to leave you. And so we just built this relationship. So when this happened, I knew he was right there. I knew that it wasn't, I didn't need to be convinced that Ariel was okay. And so when I wrote him down, I think that it's so important. I mean, my book isn't necessarily to try to tell you what to believe. It's to think that maybe there is something else out there.
Yeah.
That all these things that you come across and you think, well, maybe it's a coincidence, or I don't want to share it with somebody because I feel crazy. You're not crazy.
And you wrote incident after incident after incident that you felt, you're calling them signs, but that things that God gave you after Ariel departed this earth, that you want people to know, hey, wake up and look at all the ways in which God's speaking to you, and don't think you're cuckoo. It's there to bless you and help you. I mean, if he created you, he can certainly converse with you.
Right.
And I think some of us kind of put it on high and we think, oh my gosh, that's too holy and that's too fairy tale-ish to reduce God to somebody who speaks to people. But I fully believe it. And obviously it carried you through. Was there anything else other than the Bible and the story? Can you think of something else?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of things. There was when I opened up the Bible, and at this point in my life, I'd never read one. I mean, it was too overwhelming for me.
Sure. It's overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yeah. So, so I just thumbed through it. Kevin and I were up in Ariel's room, and this is the day we got home from the hospital after she
passed away.
And I just thumbed through it, and I noticed some pages were folded over, and they were in the book of Matthew. And I thought, okay, well, I don't know what any of this means, but I read a little bit about 40 days and 40 nights. Shut it, and I thought, you know what, whatever, if I need to know something. Well, I went to the church with my mom across the street for the first time. She'd asked me to go several times, but I finally went, and the pastor, he said something about 40 days and 40 nights. And and so the Bible verse, I wrote it down when he said it, and it was Matthew 4, verse 11. And when I put it in my pocket and I went home and I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to go check it because I don't want to be searching for stuff. I just, if this is going to happen. And then I thought, well, I don't want to be freaked out. What if it is there? That's freaky at that time. Mm-hmm. Well, I waited, I think it was about an hour or two. And finally, I just couldn't take it. I went up to her room, and sure enough, it was right with the pages that she folded over. Mm-hmm. And it's, then the devil left him and the angels came and ministered into him. Yeah. And that was the gateway for me to read the Bible. But I mean, that happened. And then, things that were left behind, her story on her dresser. It's really incredible what you're willing to hear, what he'll show you.
Yeah. There's to comfort you, to love you, to reassure you. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think you're sitting in here so stoically telling me about the death of your precious, beautiful daughter. But I think, how can she be so stoic? But I think it's because you feel the comfort of God.
I know that Ariel's okay. And I know that we're going to be together. And there's absolutely days that I have the longing for her, to be with her. They say that a parent that's lost a child, you're stuck in between two worlds. I've got everything here that I need to do. And then I want so badly to be with her.
Yeah. But
I hear God saying, you know what? She's fine. And I hear, Mom, I'm fine. You finished what you need to do. And she's just a thought away.
Yeah.
She's not far. And I know, I mean, compared to all of eternity, our life here is just a blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. So if I can just hang on, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle. If I can just keep hanging on, and all I have to do is put one foot in front of the other, and do the next right thing.
Well, and you have that precious husband and 4 other babies and your mother and a message to share now and a book. So you do have things to do.
I do have things to do. And I think that it's so important to, having Ariel die, when your child dies, one of our biggest fears, I personally believe, is that they're going to be forgotten. And in all reality, that is not possible, but it is a fear as a parent. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage parents to do something in their memory. I mean, it feels good. It feels like you do stuff for your children their whole life. And all of a sudden that just stops.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is. And so now her name is on the book. We only have a minute left. So I want to remind people, I'll buy another copy if I have to. If somebody else feels like they need this book about addiction and recovery, and Heidi Marie Davis's amazing story detailed in the book Ariel's Light, named after her precious, beautiful daughter, Ariel. God bless you for carrying this message. I hope that you have a voice in other arenas where people really need to hear you and need hope that they can recover too. Even when tragedy strikes, you have moved on in the name of your beautiful daughter. But you're also carrying a torch for her, and you will see her in heaven one day. So thank you so much, Heidi, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless you.